It started with $500 and a look that told me I didn't belong. I'd barely set my duffel bag down in seat 1A when the flight attendant, white gloves, tight bun, too much lipstick, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't belong here." Her voice wasn't raised. It didn't need to be. It was sharp, final, the kind of voice that cuts without having to shout. I looked at her, calm, handed her my boarding pass, clearly marked 1A, and watched as she didn't even glance at it. "There's been a reassignment," she said, reaching for the overhead compartment like she was busy with safety checks. But I knew it was stalling, buying time. Just enough for her buddy, another flight attendant, to come back from the galley with a forged seat change form. And sure enough, here came Ryan, square jaw, smug smile, clipboard in hand, waving a fake log like it was gospel. "We've had an upgrade situation," he said. "You're not on this list. You'll need to move back to economy." I didn't shout. I didn't make a scene. I just said, "This is my seat." But then the man in 1B, khakis, smug face, rich white suburb energy, leaned over and smirked. "I gave her $500 for this seat, man. Don't make a scene, just move." That's when it hit me. They sold my seat. They actually took a bribe and thought they could just shove me to the back because I didn't look the part. The cabin got quiet. Not silent, just tight. You could feel it. People looking but pretending not to see. No one spoke up. Not yet. Just one young flight attendant, Mia. Her name tag flashed when she shifted, clearly nervous. She mumbled to Sarah, the one who first confronted me, "His ticket's valid." I scanned it myself. Sarah didn't even blink. "Stay in your lane, Mia." I stayed seated, didn't flinch. Called my assistant, Lena, under my breath. "Activate the internal system. Log everything." On the other end, already rolling. Meanwhile, Ryan leaned in again, fake concern dripping like poison. "Sir, this is your final warning. Move to economy, or we'll have you escorted off." Then came the nail. From 1B again, "Face it, economy's your place." I heard someone gasp. A woman in row 2, maybe. A man a few rows back stood up. Indian, mid-40s, voice firm. "We saw him board. He's done nothing wrong." His wife raised her phone. "I'm filming this," she said. Her hands were shaking. But Sarah didn't back down. She stepped forward like she owned the damn sky. "You're disrupting first class. We can't take off with this energy." That's when I looked up and said, calm as ever, "You're escalating a situation you created." Ryan smirked. "You're not first-class material, and you know it." That's when Claire, the woman filming, shot to her feet. "Did you just say that?" Her voice cracked the quiet like glass. David, her husband, added, "He belongs here more than you do. You're on a power trip." And suddenly, the silence broke. Another passenger nodded. Someone whispered, "Typical." And yet, Sarah stood her ground. She picked up the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a delay due to a non-compliant guest in seat 1A. That's when I stood up, just slowly rose. Not angry, not wild, just done. I said, "You're lying to an entire cabin, on record. And every second you speak, you're putting this airline at risk." Ryan chuckled. "You really think you can threaten us?" he said. "Who do you think you are?" I looked him dead in the eye. "You'll find out soon." They still didn't get it. Sarah looked to the curtain, probably hoping security would come drag me out. Mia hands trembling, stepped forward again. This isn't right. He has a valid ticket. I've seen complaints about Sarah's conduct during training. No one followed up. Sarah spun on her. That's slander. Mia didn't blink. It's documented, and I'm recording now. You could feel the air shift again, passengers leaning forward, watching. A man in the back shouted, "Let him stay!" Another woman called out, "Stop the discrimination!" And then Ryan lunged, grabbed my wrist, tried to pull me. That's when everything snapped. David jumped to his feet. "Don't touch him!" Claire stood between us. Mia rushed in too. Even a man from row 3, complete stranger, stepped into the aisle. You lay one hand on that man, and you answer to all of us. Ryan stepped back, but it was too late. I looked around, saw the line of people standing between me and injustice, and I raised my phone. "Lena, tag final escalation. Put Karen on standby." Karen Walsh, board executive. 10 seconds later, her voice came through my phone. "Marcus, proceed." That's when Sarah's face dropped. "Wait, Marcus?" she whispered. I looked her straight in the eye. "My name is Marcus Grant. I am the CEO and sole owner of Apex Airlines." It landed like a bomb. Edward in 1B looked like he'd swallowed a nail. Sarah took a step back like gravity shifted. Ryan blinked, then laughed like it was a joke. "You're the CEO? That's impossible." I didn't need to convince them. Lena spoke through my phone again. "Karen is on the line. You're clear to proceed." I turned to the cabin. Effective immediately, flight attendants Sarah Coleman and Ryan Holt are terminated for misconduct, falsifying records, and racial discrimination. Passengers gasped. Mia looked like she might cry. Then Karen's voice came through again. "The board supports this action. Public acknowledgement will follow within the hour." Sarah staggered, tried to stammer something. "You can't just—" "I can," I said, and I just did. Ryan turned pale. "We didn't know who you were." He said it like that made it better. "And if I wasn't the CEO," I snapped, "you would have gotten away with it. That's the problem." Then he cracked. Voice shaking, he said, "It wasn't just us. It's the system. We get coached, told who fits the first-class profile. It's coded, never written down. But it's real." There it was, the truth, ugly, exposed. I turned back to Mia. "You stood up, spoke out when it wasn't easy. Effective immediately, I'm promoting you. You'll report directly to Karen." Mia's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. Passengers started clapping, not the polite kind, the real kind. A woman in row 5 stepped up. "I overheard Sarah mocking another black man last flight. I stayed quiet. I'm not staying quiet now." She turned to me. "Thank you." I just nodded, then turned to Edward. "You're banned from all future Apex flights. Your money bought a seat, but your actions bought you a lifetime exile." He tried to protest. No one listened. Sarah slumped into the jump seat. "I wasn't always like this," she said. "I just wanted to belong." I looked at her, not cruel, but cold. "So did I. And you tried to take that from me because I didn't fit your version of belonging." A few minutes later, Captain Foster stepped out from the cockpit. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice steady, "Mr. Marcus Grant is the CEO of Apex Airlines. We stand by his actions today. As of now, the terminated crew will be escorted off the aircraft." And they were, quietly, quickly, no more intercoms, no more smug looks, just silence. Ryan walked off first. eyes down. Sarah followed, shoulders curled inward. Ethan, the one who stayed quiet, was terminated too. I told him, "You did nothing, and that's exactly the problem." They were replaced. The flight continued, and I sat back down in 1A. The seat I paid for, the seat they tried to steal, the seat they didn't think someone who looked like me deserved. News broke before we even hit cruising altitude. Not because I posted anything. Someone leaked the internal apology. Headlines screamed, "CEO kicked out of first class, fires entire crew mid-flight." But to me, it wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. Weeks later, I got a letter. Handwritten. No name. Just, "I was on that flight. I didn't speak up, but I saw everything. Since then, I spoke up at work. Helped someone get the raise she earned. I told my daughter, silence isn't strength." I kept that letter, same drawer as another one, from Ryan. He wrote, "I was wrong. I'm trying to be better." People can change. Not always, but sometimes, and sometimes is enough. So no, I didn't move to economy. I didn't get escorted off. I stayed right where I belonged, in 1A, and watched the sky open wide.